For all of you out there that are interested in changing your life in a big way and are up for a little bit of adventure, I'd highly recommend traveling or considering to travel in another way. And that means maybe being a bit uncomfortable, doing something different. Might mean traveling alone. That's how I prefer to travel. I feel that traveling alone is one way that people can engage with me without being intimidated, without hearing another language or, thinking I'm unapproachable because I'm in a group or even with one other person. Because you're focused on that one person or that group, and it's really hard to be immersed into another culture. It's not for everyone, but for me, really, it's what keeps me connected. It keeps me going and traveling, meeting people, and relying on serendipity and coincidences, to keep me going and to leading me in the direction to my path, to where I end up going. I went to Ghana quite some time ago for the first time. I had never been to anywhere on the African continent and decided eventually that it would be Ghana. One of the reasons was because they spoke English. That was their official language. And I thought, since it's my first time going to the African continent, let's be easy on ourselves. And let's pick a place where one of their official languages was English. There were another 7 languages, there's more than that, but I think 7 official languages that weren't at all related to English. But I thought, since English is official and what they teach in schools, I should be okay. So I went and, by myself. The only plan I had is I had a contact with an NGO, a charity that worked in Ghana called Help Age. And I was going to do some volunteer work for them. I was going to photograph some of their projects. So I got there and I ended up photographing projects in the city of Accra and also up north. It was excellent. But one of the things what happened to me is on my first day, I went to their office. The fellow I needed to speak to, Mr. Mensah, wasn't there. I ended up going back to where I was staying, the hotel, the Greenleaf Hotel in Osu. Go back and forth. Finally, I kept going the same route. I have to, because if I don't, I will totally get lost. And on that route, trying to find their office the first time, I would ask people, and a lot of people didn't understand my English. So I thought, okay, that's when reality set in that, not everyone's going to necessarily understand me as helpful. And, they might want to really help, but if they can't understand me, then, that's the way it is. Well, on the third trip back, I kept passing this woman, and she was sitting under a tree in the shade, and she motioned me over, and, how are you? Fine. Her English was limited, but she wanted to teach me Twi. So she's like, Wohote Zain. I'm like, oh, okay, Wohote Zain. Me huye. Me huye. Okay. Ete Zain. Eye. So little by little I was learning, but I knew I wouldn't remember because it wasn't comparable to any language I knew. So I went back to the hotel, got some paper and a pen, went back, sat under the tree with her, and I was ready to take notes. I was going to write it down phonetically. So then, at least I'd know some basic Twi, and I'd be able to speak to people. So I'm there, I'm writing it down, and after some time, I didn't realize, but a crowd had gathered, crowd of children, and a young man from the crowd said, oh, do you need help with Twi? I'd actually come to a bit of a wall because the woman, when I asked her a question, she didn't know enough English to answer me. And so he answered me. And, where are you from? What's your name? We started talking. He was a potter. He and his brother lived in a kiosk just at the back of the compound. And he offered to teach me Twi. I ended up learning Twi from him and so many other things, cultural things, and, what to do and where to go and, what certain things mean. Shaking hands only with the right hand and only eating with the right hand and things like that. He was also one of the most inspiring people I have ever met. So optimistic in the face of in the face of adversity. Oh my goodness, what an optimist. There was always a way. He always saw the solution. That's what he looked for. He saw the solution. He didn't see the problem. You know, everything in its time. An absolutely fabulous man. And I can say that had I not traveled in the way that I do, and not been afraid of traveling by myself, and not being afraid to engage with people, I would never have met him. I can't imagine my life without having met Vuseni Adoba. And the other adventures that we ended up having, the time we shared, the conversations, all of that, just with a different mindset, a different way of thinking when you travel, a different approach. So if you want an experience of a lifetime, I would suggest, you know, maybe going away from the tour, maybe you're traveling by yourself and immersing yourself into a place and a culture and a people, trying to learn the language, even if it's a little bit, and sharing and being part of it. So for all you would-be adventurers, go on, take that step. Have an adventure of a lifetime. Engage. Be immersed. Try something different.